What if I told you there's a place on Earth so extreme, it makes the rest of the planet look tame? A place where nature's fury is on full display every single day. We often look to the stars for the next great frontier, for alien landscapes and undiscovered worlds. We imagine distant planets, cold and hostile. But that world exists right here, on our own planet. It is a continent of superlatives, a land of pure, raw, and untamed power. This is Antarctica. It is a vast white desert at the bottom of the world. It's a place that challenges everything we think we know about survival and the limits of life itself. This isn't just another cold place. The coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth, a mind-numbing -89.2 degrees Celsius, was here. It's so dry, it's technically the world's largest desert, receiving less precipitation than the Sahara, and its average elevation is higher than any other continent, a colossal plateau of ice that scrapes the sky. This is not a landscape for the faint of heart. It is a realm of ice and wind, where survival is measured not in days or weeks, but in minutes and seconds. But why should we care about this desolate, frozen wasteland so far from home? Because Antarctica is more than just a block of ice. It's a scientific treasure trove, a natural laboratory that holds the secrets to our planet's past and future. The ice here acts like a time capsule, preserving ancient air bubbles that tell us what Earth's climate was like hundreds of thousands of years ago. What happens in Antarctica doesn't stay in Antarctica. Its massive ice sheets act as the planet's air conditioner, influencing weather patterns and sea levels across the globe. Understanding this continent is crucial to understanding our own world. So, prepare yourself. We are about to embark on a journey to the very edge of existence. We will venture beyond the familiar coastal regions, past the penguin colonies and research stations that dot the fringes. We are going deeper into the heart of the continent's most extreme landscapes. We will explore places that are as alien as the surface of Mars, and uncover mysteries that have been locked beneath miles of ice for millions of years. This is a journey into the harshest frontier on Earth, a quest to unveil what lies beyond the ice. Are you ready to face the extreme? Our expedition will not be an easy one. Exploring Antarctica's harshest regions presents immense challenges, pushing human ingenuity and endurance to their absolute limits. Just getting there is a monumental task, a battle against unforgiving seas and treacherous ice. But arriving is only the beginning of the struggle. Out here, the environment itself is the enemy. We will face the perpetual darkness of the polar night, a months-long winter where the sun never rises above the horizon. We will confront the legendary katabatic winds, hurricane-force gales of cold, dense air pouring down from the high plateau. The logistical hurdles are just as daunting. Every piece of equipment, every scrap of food, every drop of fuel must be planned for, packed and transported across thousands of miles. From fuel that powers the generators to the last tea bag. The supply chain is long and fragile. The journey inland is a monumental undertaking. Fleets of specialized tracked vehicles, modern tractor trains, crawl across the ice at a few miles per hour. They must navigate vast fields of deep crevasses, hidden cracks in the ice hundreds of feet deep, wide enough to swallow a vehicle whole. Teams use ground-penetrating radar to scout and plot a safe route, but the ice is always moving. New crevasses can open without warning. In the heart of Antarctica, your technology is your lifeline. Your vehicles are your legs, your generator is your hearth, your radio is your only voice to the outside world. But in this environment, technology is fragile. The extreme cold is a constant assault on every piece of machinery. A simple task like starting an engine in the morning becomes a complex, multi-hour process involving preheaters and a lot of hope. When a machine breaks down, it is never just an inconvenience, it is an immediate crisis. A broken-down vehicle could leave a team stranded hundreds of miles from safety, with limited supplies and a dwindling window for rescue. This is why expedition members are not just scientists or drivers. They are all mechanics and engineers by necessity. Beyond the mechanical and logistical challenges lies the most complex and unpredictable factor of all: the human element. The human body is simply not built for Antarctica. Hypothermia, the dangerous drop in core body temperature, is a constant threat. Frostbite, the freezing of skin and underlying tissues, can happen in minutes and lead to permanent injury and amputation. Living and working in a small, isolated group for months on end in a hostile environment with no escape can be incredibly stressful. The perpetual darkness of the polar night, or the relentless 24-hour daylight of summer, can disrupt sleep patterns and circadian rhythms. Team cohesion is not just desirable, it is a critical survival tool. After journeying through a world defined by ice, it is almost impossible to imagine a part of Antarctica that is free of it. Yet, such a place exists. Hidden behind the coastal mountains of Victoria Land lies one of the most bizarre and otherworldly landscapes on our planet: McMurdo Dry Valleys. This is a vast, cold desert of stone, gravel, and frozen soil, a series of parallel valleys that, against all odds, remain almost entirely devoid of snow or ice. Spanning nearly 5,000 square kilometers, it is the largest ice-free region on the continent. Stepping into one of these valleys feels like stepping onto the surface of another world. The silence is profound, broken only by the whisper of the wind. The dominant force in the dry valleys is not ice or water, but the ceaseless, sculpting wind. The same powerful katabatic winds that pour from the polar plateau are funneled through these valleys, accelerating to incredible speeds. But here, instead of carrying snow, they carry sand and small particles of gravel. Over millions of years, this relentless wind-driven abrasion has acted like a giant sandblaster, carving and polishing the very rock of the valley walls. The wind etches bizarre and beautiful features into the dolerite and sandstone bedrock, creating formations known as ventifacts, rocks literally shaped by the wind. Walking through the valleys, you are surrounded by evidence of the wind's power. Boulders are undercut at their base, leaving them perched precariously on narrow stems. The very ground beneath your feet tells a story of constant movement, with sand dunes marching slowly across the valley floor. In the stark, monochromatic landscape of the dry valleys, one feature stands out in shocking contrast. At the snout of the Taylor Glacier, what appears to be a wound bleeds out onto the pristine white ice of Lake Bonny. A 5-story tall cascade of deep, blood-red water pours slowly from the glacier's face, staining the ice in a gruesome spectacle. This is Blood Falls, one of Antarctica's most unsettling and mysterious natural wonders. For decades, its origin was a puzzle. Early explorers thought the color came from some kind of red algae. The secret of Blood Falls lies locked deep beneath the Taylor Glacier itself. The source is a subglacial pool of ancient seawater, a remnant of an ocean that flooded the valleys millions of years ago. As this iron-rich water is forced out from under the glacier through a fissure, it finally comes into contact with oxygen in the atmosphere for the first time in over 1 million years. The dissolved iron instantly oxidizes. It rusts. The same chemical reaction that turns a nail reddish-brown is happening on a grand scale, turning the clear, iron-laden brine into a cascade of crimson. At first glance, the dry valleys appear to be utterly lifeless. The barren ground, the biting wind, the extreme cold and dryness seem to create an environment where life simply cannot gain a foothold. For a long time, scientists believed these valleys were indeed sterile. But a much closer look, reveals a hidden world of incredible tenacity. Life does exist here, but it is life stripped down to its barest essentials. The majority of life in the dry valleys is found inside the rocks themselves. This strategy is called cryptoendolithic survival, hidden inside rock. Porous sandstone lets a tiny amount of sunlight penetrate a few millimeters below the surface. In that protected niche, algae, fungi, bacteria. For a few precious days in summer, when temperatures rise just enough, tiny pockets of ice within the rock melt, providing just enough water for microbes to photosynthesize and grow, then freeze again. The extreme alien nature of the McMurdo Dry Valleys has made them more than just geological or biological curiosity. For planetary scientists and astrobiologists, these valleys are one of the best Earth-based analogues for Mars. The cold, dry, windy, radiation-blasted environment of the dry valleys bears a striking resemblance to the surface of the red planet, past and present. Studying how life survives here provides crucial clues. Could life exist, or have ever existed, on Mars? Scientists from NASA and other agencies come to the dry valleys to test equipment destined for other worlds. They deploy prototype rovers to see how they handle rocky terrain and extreme temperatures. They test drills meant to penetrate permafrost and search for signs of life. They use life detection instruments to try to identify sparse microbial communities. The dry valleys are a crucial proving ground. If an instrument can't detect known life here, it likely won't find life on Mars. If the dry valleys are a shocking absence of ice, our next destination is the opposite extreme. We now journey deep into the heart of the East Antarctic Plateau, a featureless white expanse stretching for thousands of kilometers. Here, the ice sheet is at its thickest, a colossal dome of frozen water more than 4 kilometers deep, or 2.5 miles deep in places. For decades, we believed that beneath this crushing weight of ice lay nothing but frozen, lifeless rock. But we were wrong. Hidden from sight, buried under a staggering thickness of ice, lies a secret world. A vast, interconnected network of more than 400 subglacial lakes, rivers, streams, a whole continent's worth of hidden plumbing. This discovery has rewritten our understanding of Antarctica. The largest, Lake Vostok, is one of the biggest lakes on the planet. Roughly the size of Lake Ontario, about 250 kilometers long, 50 kilometers wide, and in places over 500 meters deep. Discovering Lake Vostok was one thing. Reaching it was a challenge on a completely different scale. The lake is located directly beneath Russia's Vostok Station, the coldest inhabited place on Earth. For years, scientists at this remote outpost have been drilling into the ice, not to reach the lake, but to study the past climate. They were extracting ice cores, long translucent cylinders of ice containing trapped air bubbles from ancient atmospheres. Year after year, the drill bit went deeper and deeper, and they realized they were approaching something extraordinary. Radar data showed they were tantalizingly close to the liquid water below. As the drill neared the lake, a new profound challenge emerged. The borehole was filled with 60 tons of kerosene and freon. Allowing this toxic mixture into the pristine lake would be catastrophic environmental vandalism. The Russian team developed a brilliant plan. They would drill until just meters from the liquid water, then replace the heavy, dirty fluid with a lighter, cleaner, silicone-based fluid. The final breakthrough into Lake Vostok was a moment of incredible tension and excitement. After years of planning and waiting, the drill finally touched the liquid water on February 5, 2012. Just as planned, the clean lake water rushed up into the bottom of the borehole and froze solid. The team had successfully entered the lake without contaminating it. The following year, they returned to carefully drill into this frozen plug and retrieve the first ever samples of water from this ancient hidden world. The first analyses of this newly frozen lake ice were electrifying. The water was incredibly pure, almost like distilled water, but it was also supersaturated with oxygen and nitrogen. But the most exciting discoveries were the traces of life. Using sterile techniques, scientists began to find the DNA of bacteria and other microbes in the refrozen ice. These were organisms that did not match any known species from the surface world. It was the first direct evidence that life might exist in the dark, cold, high-pressure world of Lake Vostok. For all of life, as we know it on the surface of the Earth, the sun is the ultimate source of energy. Plants and algae capture sunlight through photosynthesis, forming the base of a food chain that everything else depends on. So, the first and most obvious question about life in a subglacial lake is, without sunlight, what could possibly be on the menu? The answer is as profound as it is elegant. Life has found another way. Instead of a feast of light, it survives on a feast of chemicals, a process known as chemosynthesis. This is not a new idea. We first discovered chemosynthetic ecosystems in the 1970s, clustered around hydrothermal vents on the deep ocean floor. There, bacteria use chemical compounds like hydrogen sulfide, gushing from the Earth's crust, as their energy source. These bacteria then form the base of a vibrant ecosystem of tube worms, clams, and crabs. Scientists now believe a similar process could be happening in Antarctica's subglacial lakes. The water in these lakes is in direct contact with the bedrock, rock that is rich in minerals and iron. The evidence for life beneath the ice is more than just a theory. It comes in the form of tantalizing whispers from the deep, fragments of data and physical samples that hint at a living world below. The first clues came from the ice cores themselves, long before any lake was breached. As scientists drilled deeper towards Lake Vostok, they found that the lowest layers of ice contained microbes. Then came the breakthrough. When scientific teams from Russia, the United States and the United Kingdom finally managed to sample the water and sediments from lakes. Using advanced DNA sequencing techniques, they found a surprising diversity of genetic material. In the sediments of Lake Mercer, a US team discovered the preserved remains of tiny, ancient life forms. The most exciting discoveries, however, are the DNA sequences that do not match any known organism. In the water samples from Lake Vostok, scientists have identified thousands of gene fragments. Scientists are also measuring the metabolic activity in the water samples. By adding specific chemical traces to the water, they can see if any microbes present are actively consuming them. With every exciting announcement of a new DNA sequence or a preserved microbe, a shadow of doubt follows. The single greatest challenge in this entire field of science is the problem of contamination. The surface world, our world, is absolutely saturated with microbial life. It is on our bodies, in our clothes, on our equipment, in the very air we breathe. When you are drilling through 4 kilometers of ice with tons of machinery and drilling fluids, the risk of introducing these surface microbes is enormous. This is a challenge that scientists take with the utmost seriousness. An entire field of clean drilling technology has been developed to address it. Even with these precautions, the process of verifying a discovery is painstaking. When a new DNA sequence is found, it is cross-referenced against a massive database of all known organisms. While some of the initial findings have been questioned and debated, the overall trend in the evidence is pointing in one direction. The mystery beneath the ice forces us to radically expand our perspective. We are accustomed to thinking of our planet's biosphere as a thin, green and blue veneer on its surface powered by the sun. But the discoveries in Antarctica suggest something far more profound. They hint at a vast, deep biosphere that extends for miles into the Earth's crust. A hidden universe of life that operates on completely different rules and on geological timescales. The subglacial lakes of Antarctica are not an anomaly. They are simply a window. Life is not just on the Earth, it is in the Earth. The implications of this are staggering. It means the total biomass of our planet could be far greater than we ever imagined. Some scientists now estimate that the mass of life hidden deep within the Earth's crust could rival, or even exceed, all the life on the surface. This is a biosphere that does not care about day or night, summer or winter. It is a world of darkness, pressure, and slow chemical time. We have journeyed to the driest deserts and the highest peaks of this frozen continent. We have seen the challenges, the dangers, and the sheer, raw power of Antarctica. But now, we arrive at the heart of the greatest mystery of all. It is a question that drives much of the science here. A question that resonates with a deep, primal human curiosity. Are we alone? We often ask this question by looking up at the stars. But what if the most profound answers lie not in the cosmos above, but deep beneath our own feet? Here, in the crushing darkness under miles of ice, a tantalizing possibility exists. the discovery of life that has been isolated from our world for millions of years. This is the climax of our journey, the central mystery that makes Antarctica not just a continent of extremes, but a frontier for one of the most fundamental quests in all of science. Our journey across Earth's harshest frontier is coming to an end. We have traveled from the blinding whiteouts of the polar plateau to the bizarre rocky deserts of the dry valleys. We began with a question: what lies beyond the ice? The answer, we have discovered, is more complex, more challenging, and more wondrous than we could have ever imagined. Antarctica is not an empty wasteland. It is a continent of secrets, a place of profound contrasts. We have faced the brutal realities of survival here. We have seen how the tyranny of the cold and the relentless fury of the katabatic winds dictate every aspect of existence. Every human endeavor is a battle against an environment that is actively trying to freeze, crush, and erase it. Survival in Antarctica is the ultimate test of planning, resilience, and humility. What we learn in Antarctica does not stay in Antarctica. The lessons from this extreme continent ripple outwards, touching every one of us. The ancient ice cores we have seen being drilled are our most important historical documents. They are a library of past climates, holding tiny bubbles of ancient air. The changes that scientists are now measuring in Antarctica are not isolated events. They are a clear and urgent warning about the health of our entire global system. The incredible resilience of life here also teaches us a profound lesson. The microbes that survive by eating rocks in the dark, the tardigrades that can endure being frozen solid. This gives us hope, but it also serves as a crucial benchmark. When we see even these toughest of ecosystems being threatened by global climate change, we know that we are facing a crisis of unprecedented scale. Antarctica is the planet's canary in the coal mine. Furthermore, this frozen continent acts as a mirror to our own character. We end our expedition where we began, with a sense of awe and a head full of questions. We have unveiled some of Antarctica's greatest mysteries, but in doing so, we have only revealed how much more there is to discover. Every new answer leads to a dozen new questions. What other life forms lie waiting in the hundreds of unexplored subglacial lakes? The age of exploration is not over. It has simply moved to the frontiers of science, to the deep, to the microscopic, and Antarctica is its capital. The spirit of exploration is a vital part of what makes us human. It is the drive to look over the next ridge, to peer deeper into the darkness, to understand the universe and our place within it. Now, the journey is passed on to you. What part of this extreme world did you find most fascinating? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Every voice adds to the story, and every question pushes the boundaries of our knowledge just a little bit further. Let this not be the end of your exploration. Keep seeking out the wild places, in documentaries, in books, in the world around you. Keep questioning, keep learning, keep being amazed by the incredible, resilient, and mysterious planet we call home. The journey into the heart of the extreme is a journey into the heart of what it means to be alive. Thank you for joining us on this expedition to Earth's harshest frontier. The adventure never truly ends. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel for more travel videos.